started. And thank you so much for being here with us today. And I know this session is happening pretty late, so I really appreciate you guys coming out here. And we're going to keep this session within 30 minutes. So for the first 15 to 20 minutes, we're going to talk about what we do at FetchMi, our vision for it. And then for the last 5 minutes, we can open the floor to questions. So before I get started, I just want to offer my thanks on behalf of the team to EEVM, the organizer of HackATL. Thanks so much for giving us this opportunity to share our startup story with everyone here. And I promise you that we're going to make the most out of this session. So a little bit background information on myself. My name is Eric Yang, and I grew up in China. I went to high school in Philadelphia, and now I'm a second-year student at Emory, studying history and philosophy. So now you may wonder why a history philosophy major student decided to start a business, right? And I ask myself that question every day too. And well, the truth is, I have been passionate about starting business for a long time now. Back when I was in middle school, I tried to start a website to sell books with my middle school friends. But then that idea was kind of similar to how Amazon started, except our idea didn't work out because we were only 15 or 16 years old at the time, and the business just didn't work out. And then I came to the US for high school, and in my last year in high school, I decided to start an educational agency with my best friend at the time, Gabe Fish, and he's also with us on this new business. He's our co-founder and COO, and he can't be here with us today because he goes to school at Tufts University. He's a junior at Tufts, and he sent his best wish to everyone here. And so that educational agency still didn't work out, and we thought, we would help international students studying here. Because every year, you see there are a lot of international students coming from China, Korea to study here. And I'm an international student myself. So I thought if we could combine my experience as an international student studying here with Gabe's experience as an American native student, we would be able to help a lot of international students. So that idea sounded pretty good at the moment, and it still sounds pretty good to me today. Except it didn't work out because that summer I went back to China. And I realized, the startup dreams were too beautiful and the world is too cruel. So I went back to China, talked to a bunch of students and parents, and they were like, oh, what services do you offer? And then I talked about the services we offer. We talked for like a couple hours, and the parents were like, oh, wow. And then they asked the important question. That's when the conversation ended. They were like, by the way, how old are you? I was like, yeah, let me tell you. I was 18 years old at the time, and Gabe was 19 years old at the time. As soon as the parents in China heard about our age, they were like, yeah, probably not. We can't trust you, because a lot of their kids are even older than me and Gabe at the time. So they were like, yeah, we can't really trust our kids with you guys. I understand that because it was a huge commitment for students to come abroad. And then also another reason our educational agency idea failed was because the educational market was too competitive. There were too many educational firms that tried to offer the same services in both China and America. So we didn't really plan out our second business idea very well. So that business didn't fly either. So I failed twice, and now I'm on my third attempt. And exactly because I failed a business twice, I became more and more interested in startup. Because startup is challenging. You got to interact with different people, and then you got to try different things, and you fail so many times. And I found it very interesting and challenging at the same time. So I got into Emory, and I still had this startup dream, and I started talking to different people I met on campus about different ideas. And then eventually, we decided to launch our new business. It's okay. We decided to, don't worry about it. And then we decided to launch our new business idea, FetchMi.com, and that's going to be the topic of today. So before I get into it, I just want to clarify something very quick. So I know many of you probably just came back from the Google session, and compared to Google, we're like a very, 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 very small company. We are just a startup in a very early stage. So I'm not here today to lecture on you guys or share any secret success formula with you guys, because that's what those companies do. But rather, since we are very small, we want to tell you, what we do at FetchMi, as well as, what we have learned starting this business, like all the failures, as well as the hardships, just in case, you guys want to start a business someday in the future. So what is FetchMi? FetchMi is a one-stop shop service platform to connect people in Atlanta to local and online services. And the reason we wanted to start this business was because we realized that today it is very easy for people to shop stuff online. So whatever you want to buy, you can go to those e-commerce sites like Amazon, Alibaba. Alibaba is the main e-commerce site in China. Amazon is the main e-commerce site here. Or you can go to eBay. So like you can type out the name of that product, and Amazon would give you hundreds of choices. And it depends on what you need, your expectation for price, delivery date, etc. Then like you can filter through like all the products, and then you can buy the one that fits your need the best. So thanks to those e-commerce sites, online shopping has become very common and convenient in people's lives today. However, we realize that when it comes to shopping for services, it's still a pain in the butt, excuse me, but so it's still not so convenient because of the lack of transparency and the communication between customers and service providers. So I will just give you one simple example. Let's say, imagine if you are a parent in Atlanta looking for a tutor to help your kid struggling in a math class. There are literally hundreds of tutoring agencies in Atlanta. So how are you supposed to know which tutoring agency works with your kid the best? How are you supposed to know how these tutoring companies are different from each other? Why should I send my kid to X tutoring company instead of a Y tutoring company? And another more relatable example is, I know many of us here today are looking for jobs and internships. That's what us college students do, right? But there are so many job sites out there to help you find jobs. But obviously, a CS major student will be looking for jobs that are very different from a humanity major student, like me and my roommate, except we're working on this business together. So, but we would be looking for different jobs, when we graduate. So there are so many job sites out there. So which job site should you go to look for jobs? And so at FetchMi, we have gathered service providers across 4 main categories: education, career, finance, and recreation. We have partnered with 2,000 service providers. Many of them are based in Atlanta, and some of them are online. So you can come to FetchMi and shop for services as easy as you would shop for products on e-commerce sites like Amazon or eBay. And under each category, we also have more specific subcategories. For example, Justin, can you go back to education? So for example, under education, we have subject tutoring, like if you need academic help. Or like we have coding companies, if you want to look for a coding bootcamp to enhance your CS skill, like you can find coding bootcamps in here. And we also have driving in case you want to get your driver's license sometime soon. And then, Justin, can you go to career? So under career, we have companies like jobs, where if you're looking for jobs or internships, you can go to those companies and websites. And then we also have something called career coaching, like if you need help with the resume editing or interview, etc. So under all these 4 categories, we have more specific subcategories to cater to your service. So now it comes up a very interesting question, and we've been asked by this question since day one. It's very on some of your minds as well. So what is the difference between FetchMi and Google, right? Why can't I just go to Google to search for services? And we got asked this question a lot. And my answer to that question is, since FetchMi, we believe that FetchMi is a better search engine than Google when it comes to services. And the key word here is service. I'm not saying that we are a better search engine than Google in general. Obviously, Google is the most powerful search engine in the world, and I haven't run into a search engine that comes even close to Google. However, since Google is so big, it's so comprehensive, whatever you need, you can go to Google. So for example, if you have some relationship issues, like you're not doing so hard with your girlfriend or boyfriend, go to Google. Or if you want to look up the Wikipedia page, Google is right there for you, like YouTube videos, relationship consult. They cover a lot of things. However, when you are looking for products, you don't think about Google first. You think of e-commerce sites like Amazon, like eBay. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with FetchMi. We want to become a better search engine when it comes to services. When you are looking for service, you can come to us. And then a few things that we have done with FetchMi to make the service finding process easier for people, such as, we have a lot of features here. And so on Google, if you find a company, you still have to go to that company's website. And depending on how complicated that website is, it could take you anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes trying to understand what that company does. And oftentimes, the company, you can't even find a lot of useful information on that company's website. Because a lot of companies claim that they are the best company in the world, or they're the second best company in the world. However, as a consumer, you don't really care about it. You don't care whether it's the best company or the second best company. What you care about is what exactly this company offers and how they are different from their competitors and how much each of these companies charges you. And that's exactly what we do at FetchMi. So at FetchMi, we have a writer team So we send our writers to each company's website. Each company we want to list on FetchMi. And then the writers will spend a lot of time doing research for our users. So they will get the most important information from a company's website, such as their price, their service. And then once we get the information, we standardize all the information in our FetchMi template. And my colleague Justin is going to show us a sample company. Justin, can you just go to subject tutoring? So all the companies you see on FetchMi, they are presented in the format of cards. And then every single card represents one company. Can you click out of it? Sorry. Yeah, so on the front of the card, you can see that some of the companies are online companies, some of the companies are based in Atlanta, so it will say Atlanta. And then you see on the front of the card, you see the company's name, and you see a short blurb about what this company does. And then when you click open the company, open the card, and then at the score on the top right, that score is the most objective score that you will find across the net from any platform. Because we have aggregated the score from both sides, FetchMi, Google, Yelp, and Facebook. And then when you scroll through the card, first you will see a summary about what a company does within 3 or 4 sentences. And then you will see all the important features about this company. And all the features are standardized within the same subcategory. For example, for all the subject tutoring companies, the first feature is always subjects, what they teach. And the second feature is process, how their tutoring process works. And then the third feature is always the price, how much they charge you. And then when you look down, you will see the company's address, it's an online company, this one, and then the contact information. And if it's an Atlanta local company, it will also show on the map. And then if this company has a review on FetchMi, you will also read the reviews. So instead of spending 15 to 30 minutes trying to understand what company does, now on FetchMi, you can spend 3 minutes trying to understand what the company does. And that's the first advantage we have over Google and other search platforms, because we have condensed the most important information from a company's site. And then we also have other features to facilitate the service finding process, such as filters. Justin, can we bring out the filters? Yeah, so if you want to narrow down your search, you can search the companies based on subjects, what subjects you need help in. And you can also filter down the companies through grade level, K through 8, high school, college, or location, in-person, online, and price. And for each subcategory, we have unique filters, and so to help you filter down the companies. That's another feature. And another feature that we have is compare. And that feature is my personal favorite feature on FetchMi. So you can compare up to 4 companies on FetchMi. And within one glance, you will figure out how they are different from each other. So my colleagues just chose 4 random companies, and you can see what subjects they teach, and how their prices are different from each other, and how pricing they are different from each other within one glance. And then the third feature I want to introduce to you is the messaging system. So we have something very similar to Facebook Messenger on our site, except our messaging system is for users and service providers. So Justin can log in. Once you log in, let's say that you find a company you want to work with, but you still have some questions about their services or pricing. Instead of calling them and emailing them, honestly, nobody wants to call this company, nobody wants to email them. So what you can do is you can directly message them on FetchMi. So Justin, can you do a demo? So you can, this company, and let's just send them a sample message. So you can send them a message. you can send them a message, and then when the company responds to you, you will get an email notification, and then you can directly talk to the companies on our site. So what we are trying to do here is, we can close it. We can, so what we're trying to do here is, we're trying to achieve a one-stop shop service platform with all these features added together to bring tailored personal service finding process to our users. And then another thing that we plan to implement in the near future is a payment system. So eventually we want to include transaction. So the flow goes that after you come to the Fetch, if you are looking for any service, you come to FetchMi, and you see the company's information, and then you do some comparison and figure out, this company might fit my need, and then you can message the company directly on our site, and eventually you can pay for the service directly on FetchMi to fully achieve a one-stop shop. So and that's is there anything else we need to? You can also sort the companies by relevancy, rating, review count, and distance. That's another. Yeah. So there are different ways that you can sort the companies. And so that's a brief rundown of FetchMi and how it works. Is there anything else? Any other feature we want to add, Philip?
No, I think all good.
All right, so that's about FetchMi. And I think all of us here today are not only here to learn about FetchMi, and also because we are Emory students, and all of us are sophomores here, I think. So another thing that we want to tackle today is how we decided to found this company, as well as the lessons we have learned from our own startup. So there are actually 3 lessons I've learned from the past 2 years trying to start a business. The first 2 attempts failed, and hopefully this one will go a little bit better. We can make something out of it. So the 3 lessons I've learned from starting business, my personal experience. This is just my subjective opinion on starting a startup. So first thing, I think a company, regardless of the size, whether it's a startup like our size or a big company like Google or Facebook, I think this company has to be driven by a sense of mission. Because an analogy I always use is, when a group of people they come together, and if they only want to make money, then those people would be called businessmen, right? Because businessmen, they come together only to make money. But we would like to call ourselves entrepreneurs. And I think a big difference between entrepreneurs and businessmen is, entrepreneurs, we also care about making money. Because every company is a for-profit business, so we have to make money. But then we also have a higher purpose to get together. We want to, hopefully one day change the world through our startup effort. And then, when you look at those companies out there, Google's mission is to connect people to information. So no matter where you are in this world, you can have free access to information. And Facebook's mission is to connect people to people. So no matter where you are in this world, you can stay in touch with your friends and even make more friends, new friends through Facebook. And then e-commerce sites like Amazon or Alibaba, their mission is to connect people to products. So no matter where you are, you can buy stuff with a computer. So at FetchMi, we also have 2 missions. The first mission we have is very simple. We want to make the service finding process easier for both users and service providers. We want to break the wall that's always there between these 2 parties. When you come to FetchMi, we want you to find the services within 30 minutes and get your work done. So that's hopefully one day, our big dream is, no matter where you are in this world, whether it's a place you have been to many times or a place that you have been to for the first time, whenever you are looking for service, you can think of FetchMi and come to FetchMi to look for the best services. And that's our first mission. And the second mission at our company is we want to empower the small, medium-sized service providers. Because a lot of the service companies we have on FetchMi, they are local, they are based in Atlanta. And when we branch into other cities, they are going to be local too. And with those small businesses, they don't have a lot of resources to build a fancy website. They don't have a lot of money to pay for advertisement on Google. So it's very hard for those small, medium-sized service providers to stand out on Google and all Yelp, because they don't have money, they don't have resources. But on FetchMi, we want to level the playing field. We believe that just because a company is small doesn't necessarily mean that a company can't do as good a job or even better job serving the customers than those big companies. Personally, I have had experience with Chegg. Chegg is a multi-billion-dollar company, public company. And then I've also had experience with local small tutoring companies. And my experience with local companies actually comes out to be better than my experience with Chegg. Because a lot of local tutoring companies, they give you personal care. They care about the face-to-face interaction. So we believe that on FetchMi, we should give the power to our customers. Whatever you need, you can use our filters, you can see the objective reviews. We believe that if a company does a good job, that it should be listed at the top. If a company offers crappy service, it should be listed in the bottom. And that's the way it should be presented. So at FetchMi, we want to present the most objective information and give back the deciding power to our users. That's what we do at FetchMi. That's the first lesson I learned. So every company should be driven by a mission, regardless of the size. And the second lesson I've learned from starting business in the past 2 years is, so what makes a business succeed or not? Obviously, I'm not in a position to talk about success now, but then I do have a lot of failure stories. So from my failure stories, I think the single biggest factor to me, if this company is going to succeed, is a team, is a one-word team. So a lot of people are saying that, if you can raise money from venture capitalists, then your business will succeed. There is some truth to it, but raising money is the easy part. There are so many VCs out there. There are hundreds of them. thousands of them. They are like bees flying around. But then if some VCs turn you down, you can always go to other VCs. At some point people will appreciate your business idea. So raising money is the easy part. And then some other people also say that entering into the right industry at the right time will decide whether your company succeed or not. But Apple, a lot of people say, oh, Apple entered the smartphone industry at the right time. But what about Nokia? Nokia also entered the phone market at the same time. So why did they fail, right? So timing, there's some truth to it. And on top of that, I think that there's also some luck involved. You could have done everything right, but your business could still fail. That's just unlucky. There's nothing you can say about that. So, however, to me, the single biggest factor is team. So I believe that when you've got a group of people, a group of like-minded friends and colleagues to work together, you guys will support each other through some hard times. And let me tell you this, although we're not successful, I can already feel that starting a business is very hard. You never know what kind of difficulties you're going to run into. You never know what kind of challenges you're going to up against tomorrow. I'm worried we're going to run out of the money we raised last round every day. I'm worried that our website will be down or just crash at any time, right? So there are a lot of things that you have to worry about starting a business. And at times, it could be very, very frustrating. You just want to give up on that. So at those difficult times, who supports you? Who gives you power to continue your startup dream? These guys. Our team members. Only if you look at each other, you can get the strength from that. And I'm not saying that to just to make myself sound good, but if you look at the successful companies and entrepreneurs, well, another thing I have to say is I always thought to myself, if I could come up with the idea of FetchMi, then there must have been other people who came up with similar ideas way before, and there will be other people that come up with this idea after me. Because the truth is, I'm not smart at all. Compared to a lot of friends I know, I can barely pass calculus 1. So if I could come up with this idea, then the truth is a lot of other people out there, they probably already came up with this idea, and there will be more people coming up with this idea. So I'm not proud of myself for coming up with this idea at all. And then this same logic applies to a lot of great companies that we know today. Everyone knows that Mark Zuckerberg is a genius, right? However, he was not the first one to come up with the idea of social media. A company called MySpace had existed before Facebook, long before Facebook existed, but Facebook won in the end. And Jeff Bezos was not the first one to come up with the idea of selling books online. Barnes and Noble, long before Jeff Bezos, they thought about selling books online, but they decided to kill the idea because they thought selling stuff online was too stupid to be true. And then also another famous example is Alibaba in China. It's the e-commerce giant in China, the fifth largest company in the world. So when they launched their C2C, consumer-to-consumer website, Taobao in China, eBay was already in China for many, many years, and eBay controlled 95% of the market share in China. However, within 2 years, eBay decided to leave China permanently because of Alibaba's pressure. So all these great entrepreneurs and these great companies, they were not the first movers in their industry, nor did they come up with something so innovative that nobody else tried. That's not true. However, why do those companies stay in the end and end up changing the world? That's a very interesting question, and I always thought about it. And then in the end, I still arrive at one word for the conclusion: team. I think because Jack Ma, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, all those entrepreneurs, they can be great, but they could not achieve the business empire they have today, the influence they have today, without a solid team. So they have to get a group of like-minded people with different talents to help them fulfill their startup dream. So I always thought to myself that if one day FetchMi can make the dream come true, can actually become one of the most influential companies out there. It's not going to be because of me, because I'm just one person. It's going to be because everyone we've got on the team, and we got a solid team here. So I would also use this opportunity. I would also like to use this opportunity to offer my thanks to my guys at FetchMi. Justin, So I would say that if you have a startup idea in mind, I think the most important thing is to find a team, because there are so many good ideas flying around. There are so many smart people in this world. However, 90% of the startups still failed, and out of these 90%, 80% of them had wonderful ideas when they started off. But the 10% of companies that got left behind, they probably don't have the best ideas, but they have a very solid team. They believe in what they are doing. They believe in the dream. So I would say that if you have a startup idea, make sure that you find a team first, and you talk to a lot of people, and say find partners first. That's the second lesson I learned. And the third lesson, which is also the last lesson I want to share today, is never assume that you know anything going into business. Because the business is so dynamic. Like you are dealing with different problems and different people every day. You never know what kind of challenge you are going to up against. The worst mentality that you can get into is you know exactly who your target market is. Because I can tell you right now, you don't know. We don't know. And then even Google, if you ask them their target customer, if you ask Airbnb who their target customer is, they will not tell you. They don't know. The truth is they don't know. Nobody knows. The only way to even get their confidence on this issue is to get yourself out there, to talk to your potential customers, to get more market research done, to get more feedback, and then you can evaluate it. So at FetchMi, we've always had this debate as to who our customers are, and then we debated for a long time, month. And then in the end, we arrived at the conclusion, the most accurate conclusion, we don't know. Because we haven't done much marketing yet, and we haven't talked to a lot of people yet, so right now, we don't know who is gonna like our idea the most. And then some people on our team say that, college students might not like our platform that much, and I said, we don't know about that. Matthew might be looking for a job, and Lucy might be looking for a driving instructor, and Eric might be looking for a scholarship. And good for them, we've got all the services on FetchMi. So I think we can benefit college students a lot, tremendously. Or at the very least, after tonight, when you walk out of those doors, I hope that every single one of you here has become a FetchMi's customer. So the third lesson I learned is, you never know, you never know until you try it, and don't assume you know anything. Those are the 3 lessons I learned from starting FetchMi, and also all the businesses I failed in the past. And so whatever in conclusion, whatever service you're looking for, please remember to come to FetchMi. And well, before I wrap up my session, I just want to say one last word, which is starting a business is very fun. It's very cool. That's why we're doing it. It's cool and meaningful. And however, it's also very challenging because, as I said, you never know what you're going to run into. However, I think that exactly because it's challenging, that's the fun of it. You never know what's going to happen to you, and that's why so many people like us, we got startup poison because we never know, what's going to happen in the future. And human nature, as a part of human nature, we always get drawn to things that we don't know, to the mysterious things. So startup is fun. So if you have a startup dream or if you have a startup idea, don't hesitate. Get it started today or tomorrow. Talk to your friends. Don't let dreams be dreams. Because a lot of the times people ask me, don't you think that, when you are 40 years old, and then when at that time you start a business, the success rate will be higher? I said, no, you are grossly wrong. Because you know why? Now we're 19, 20, 21, so we can stay up until 5 a.m. in the morning. Can those grandpas stay up until 5 a.m. in the morning? I don't think so. So that's one thing. Another thing is right now, we're in college, we don't have a lot of burdens. We don't have family to feed. We don't have kids to support. So we can do whatever we want. We should take some risks. And startup is a very risky business. You never know what's going to happen. 99% of the startups fail. But since we're all risk takers here, and I'm sure most of you guys are risk takers here, so why not give it a try and to make the most out of our youth, right? So that's another thing I would want to encourage you. And then finally, before I end my session, I want to say that at FetchMi, we're always looking for the best talents. We're looking for people to join us. If you have the same passion about changing the service industry, if you have the same passion about startup, don't hesitate to reach out to me or anybody on the team. And we're always happy to sit down with you to figure out the possibility. We can work together in any way. So and that should be the end of it. And thank you so much for coming here today. I hope you enjoyed the session. And
if you guys have any questions, you can ask us now. We're opening the floor to questions.
Yeah.
How many, legal hoops did you have to jump through to, I talked to a guy once, he started his own landscape company, and then, the government showed up and said you haven't been paying your taxes, so, how do you, set that?
Yeah, so that's exactly why we're only working with businesses so far. Obviously we can go out our way to work with the individuals, but right now we're only working with legitimate businesses to avoid any legal issues that they might have. But in the future we might also work with individuals. But right now we are a B2C marketplace, business to consumers. But in the future, we can work with the individual tutors or individual landscaping guys, as you said. But right now, all the companies on FetchMi, they are legitimately legally registered businesses.
So I guess how did you guys when you have these workers for you, how do you set up that legally?
So right now, at FetchMi, like, we don't provide any services ourselves. We're kind of like a marketplace to connect people to the right service providers. So you can come to FetchMi to learn about what they offer, to message them or whatever. But then we don't provide any services. We want to we just build a platform to connect you to that service provider, and that's what we do.
We had to file as a limited liability company, if that's what you're asking. Like we did go through a couple legal stuff, but we didn't go through that many hoops. All we had to do was file as an LLC, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
What is FetchMi's source of revenue? How do you make money from this?
That's a very good question. My investor asked me the same question. Great potential in there. So there are actually quite a few ways that we can make money, and we can talk about that. But one thing I do have to say before I answer your question is, there is a key difference between internet companies and traditional businesses. So for example, let's use Coca-Cola, because we are Coke school, right? Let's use Coca-Cola as an example. Like for example, if they lose $1 on one bottle of Coke they sell, and then when they sell 100 bottles of Coke, they're going to lose $100. If they sell 1 million of Coke, they're going to lose $1 million. They're going to go bankrupt very soon, right? So that's something with the traditional businesses. However, with internet businesses, you see this huge shift. So with internet businesses, you might lose money on your first customer, you might lose money on your 1 million customers, but once you get to 10 million customers, when you get to 100 million customers, then you're going to start making money. That's why we need VC, venture capital. Because if we already start making money right now, why am I even talking to these VCs? Why do I want to share my money with them, right? Exactly because we're not making money. That's why those VCs exist in the first place. So, but to answer your question more directly, what are we going to make money in the future? So, services, they are very broad. Right now, we're in education, career, finance, and recreation. In the future, we plan to tap into other service industries, like for example, travel, and other things that we might come up with in the future, and we plan to launch into different cities. And there are millions of service companies out there. There are just as many services as products you can imagine. There are three things in life you need. First is education, right? Second is product, and third is service. So once we get to a certain size, once we can prove to the companies on our platform that we can give them a lot of traffic and customers, we plan to charge them a fixed amount of listing fee. We will not charge them for advertisement or to bump up their ranking. That's not what we do at FetchMi. That's what those companies at Google do. But then what we are going to do is we're going to charge them a fixed amount of listing fee. And I'll do a simple mathematical calculation with you using my limited calculus knowledge. So let's say that we got to 10,000 companies. We have 2,000 companies right now, and let's say we got to 10,000 companies, and I only need to charge them $500 to be listed on FetchMi per year. And 500 times 10,000, if I did this wrong, correct me. I think it's $5 million, right? $5 million in cash flow, and that's only a very small part, a very small number, and a very small listing fee, and that's already $5 million in cash flow. That's the first way we can make money, to charge companies to be listed on FetchMi. And the second way we can make money is we can do something similar to Amazon Prime. But with Prime, if you are a Prime member, then you get your product within a day or within 2 days. And if you are a FetchMi VIP member in the future, you don't even have to go through all these companies yourself. Like you tell us what you need, and we're going to go in our database, and we're going to match you with the exact 2 or 3 service providers, like a concierge service. And that could be another model to make money from consumers. And then the third way we can make money is that we want to empower those service providers on our side. So once we get enough data, and we can analyze those data and consult these businesses. We can tell them exactly where their customers come from and how they can do better to attract more customers and how they can compete with other companies. And those will be additionally charged services. So right now, I'm not worried about making money at all because they're going to be money will come on its own. But then right now, what we want to do is we want to better the user experience so that we want to know that whether you guys will actually finding services useful on our side. That's the number one concern and priority I have. Good question though. Yeah.